I've spent the last few days doing something that I've never done before. Playing Guild Wars 2. For me, the game has always been in the I should play that at some point category, where nothing has necessarily been pushing me away from it, but nothing's really been pulling me towards it either. And that of course all changed when I launched this channel and need topics to make videos about. And in all honesty, after spending time playing Guild Wars 2, my opinion is kind of the same. And before you all start typing your angry comments, just know that I wanted to like Guild Wars 2. I had intentions for this to be a positive video, but ultimately, I just didn't enjoy my time playing it. The best way I can describe it is that I really found myself struggling to come back to the game to reach a reasonable amount of time to give it a fair chance. So, is Guild Wars 2 a bad game? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. There's things that this game does very well. There were just enough pain points to prevent me from getting too into it. So with that, here are my first impressions of Guild Wars 2, starting with the bad, then the good, and then ultimately where I think a majority of this game lies, the average. Playing Guild Wars 2 reminded me a little bit of playing a mobile game. There is just an overwhelming amount of things that pop up on your screen. Things to open, things on your map, random text announcements, random timers, quests, loot, items, skills. It's a lot. And as a new player, it was all thrown at me with absolutely no explanation. The best way to explain this is just to show you. So here I am, about an hour into starting my character. I see a world event pop up next to me and I think, cool, this should be fun, let's give it a try. And doing the event was fun. It was nice to see other players and see other classes and their abilities. But when we complete the event, this is what happens. I unlock a skill, I leveled up, I gained purple triangle, which is never explained. I apparently received this gold currency, which I don't know what it's for. I received this currency. I received a daily bonus reward of Stampede Gold, which I don't know what it is. I received 1 out of 1 points for the Worldwide Dragon Basher. Again, no idea. I received I don't know how many chests. I gained underwater combat and gear, which I haven't even seen water yet or understand the concept of underwater combat versus land combat. And of course, a last pop-up to show what pop-ups I have coming next. For almost a minute, I'm fed pop-ups, and this is before even opening any of my rewards, which, when I do, is a whole experience in itself. I apparently have 9 chests to open up. And when I do open them, sometimes I receive another box that needs to be opened. This game really likes making you open things. When I do get to my rewards, I see that I'm given rewards for a level 80 character. I'm level 8. I've been playing for a little over an hour, and the game is giving me consumables and crafting materials that I can't use until I'm level 80. In Guild Wars 2, your level scales down to the zone you're in, but the game can't scale down gear or drops to your own level. Guild Wars 2 throws so many things right at you from the start, and while this typically would be a positive, the game does very little to explain things to you, and it's not a great way to start the game. This is very much a feeling issue, but when playing an MMO, I never like to feel like I don't have control over my character or how they're interacting with the world. But in Guild Wars 2, there is so much going on that I always kind of felt out of control. After a few hours, I just gave up on the idea that I'd have full control over my character. Things just pop up and disappear depending on where you're at. World events, for example, just show up, which is good. There are even circles on your map, so you know where they're at. Except that Guild Wars 2 tries to have so much going on, the world events will overlap with other world events. Here, I don't even know what I'm doing or which event I'm participating in. I'm just killing things in an orange circle and hoping I'm doing it right. World events are great, but when there are 3 different ones in the same area, it becomes messy very quickly. Also, many times throughout my playtime, I had these text announcements just show up and provide absolutely no information. In Guild Wars 2, quests are region-based, which is never really explained to you. As you walk through an area, they'll just pop up with a little progression bar. You don't need to talk to anybody to accept a quest, and you don't need to talk to anybody to turn it in either. You go to an area, complete a task, and you're rewarded with pop-ups. As a new player, I felt very lost on how to progress. Your path becomes a bit more clear at level 10 when you start following your personal story. And to its credit, my time spent playing the personal story was when I was having the most fun. The characters are voiced and the story is interesting. You're even given some decisions to make, which was awesome to see. The boss battles, however, were a bit underwhelming. It was a bit disappointing to have all this excitement and story build up, just to have the boss die after a few clicks. When I finished the first chapter of my personal story, I was again lost. I just went around the world completing region-based quests. I'm not sure if this is what I was supposed to be doing or if I missed something, but it seemed like the only way to progress at the time. And one last bit on quests. New World gets a lot of hate for their quest system, in which players run around the world and repeat what is essentially the same 2 or 3 tasks over and over, but I find Guild Wars 2 quests to be even worse. Yes, there are a lot of quests throughout the zones, but they all boil down to killing something over and over or pressing F on something until a progression bar is full. Maybe this changes later in the game, but again, as a new player, questing outside of the personal story, I found to be a little boring and tedious. Okay, so I've covered all of the negative. Now let's talk about the positive. To start, it gives you a lot of options to play how you want. There seems to be decisions you can make that really alter your playstyle with different abilities and builds to try out. Once I figured out the system, I did become curious to experiment a little, and I kind of wanted to level up to keep trying new things. Your abilities also change based off of the weapon you have equipped, and you can swap them really easily. You also select stats for gear, which is a really cool way to give you more control over how your character plays. And all the classes are all really unique and provide different ways to play the game. I am interested in trying out a few of the other classes. And as I mentioned before, the personal story is fun and engaging enough to keep you playing. I just think they should start it at level 1 and not have any gaps between the chapters. So we've covered the good and we've covered the bad, but there's a category that we haven't covered yet, and it's an area that I think most of Guild Wars 2 lies: the average. Besides being a bit of a mess and resembling a mobile game at times, Guild Wars 2 does nothing particularly wrong. The graphics are nice, the gameplay is nice, the combat and rate of progression, nice. But there is nothing about the game that stands out as particularly great. Almost every part of Guild Wars 2, for me, is average. In my time playing the game, each play session blended together with the previous one, with no particular great moments. And for each part of the game, I think there's a better option out there if you want to play an MMO. If you like story, you can play Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Not afraid to die, just didn't think I'd go out like this.
If you like combat, play BDO. If you like PvP, New World. If you like PvE, World of Warcraft. Overall, Guild Wars 2 just feels average to me, and it's not enough to overcome the negative aspects that I experienced. Now I know Guild Wars 2 has a very committed player base, and many of you are not going to like this review, but please don't take it personally. This is just my opinion. Instead, let me know down in the comments if there's something I got wrong or if there's something I missed. But ultimately, Guild Wars 2 just isn't the game for me. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. Until the next one.